Hello there, and welcome to Simple Sleepy Science. Tonight, we're exploring something you're carrying right now. Inside you, this very moment, is a river. It's moving, flowing, working. 5 liters. That's all you have. About as much as a big water bottle at the gym. And every single drop is on a journey. Right now, as you listen to these words, your heart is beating. About once per second. Maybe a little faster. Maybe a little slower. And with each beat, it's pushing blood through a network so vast it could wrap around the earth 2.5 times. That's not a metaphor. If you took every blood vessel in your body and laid them end to end, they would circle the planet twice, with enough left over to cross an ocean. But here's what makes this beautiful. You're not doing any of it. You're not thinking about it. You're not controlling it. This river inside you flows, whether you're awake or asleep. If this brings you calm, if you enjoy these quiet journeys into science, consider liking this video and subscribing to Simple Sleepy Science. We're a community of people who find peace in understanding the world. Leave a comment telling us where you're watching from and what time it is there. We'd love to know. Now, let's keep going. Your blood is a transport system. That's the simplest way to think about it. It's moving things from one place to another. Always, without stopping. Oxygen goes from your lungs to your muscles. Food broken down in your stomach travels to cells that need energy. Waste products journey to organs that can remove them. Messages in the form of chemicals get delivered to distant parts of your body. And all of this happens in liquid. Blood isn't just one thing. It's many things floating together. Cells, proteins, sugars, salts, hormones, all suspended in water, all moving through tubes that branch and divide and reconnect like the roots of an ancient tree. Your heart beats about 100,000 times every day. That's not counting. That's just steady work. And each beat sends a wave through this network. You can feel it in your wrist, in your neck, in your chest. That rhythm is the river's pulse, the proof of its constant motion. Here's something that might surprise you. One complete loop around your entire body takes about 60 seconds. Blood leaves your heart, travels to the tips of your toes, loops through your brain, visits your stomach, your skin, your kidneys, and returns home. All in the time it takes to read this paragraph. And the heart never rests. Not really. Between beats, there's a pause, a moment of filling, but the blood keeps moving. The vessels keep conducting. The river keeps flowing. This network inside you has passengers, trillions of them, each with a job, each with a purpose. And they're all traveling together, carried by the current you've had since before you were born. But this river has passengers. The most numerous ones are called red blood cells. And they're everywhere in your blood. So many that if you could count them, you'd reach into the trillions. But let's make it smaller, easier to picture. In a single drop of blood, the kind that forms when you prick your finger, there are about 5 million red blood cells. One drop, 5 million travelers, all moving together. Each one is tiny, far too small to see without a microscope. But they have a shape, a specific one, They look like donuts, but without the hole in the middle. Scientists call this biconcave. It means they're thinner in the center than at the edges. This shape isn't random. It gives them more surface area, more room to do their job. And their job is simple. They carry oxygen. That's it. They pick up oxygen in your lungs and deliver it everywhere else. To your brain, your muscles, your skin. Every cell that needs to burn fuel needs oxygen first. And red blood cells are the delivery trucks. Here's what makes them remarkable. Each red blood cell lives for about 120 days. 4 months. That's its entire lifespan. It gets made in your bone marrow, enters the bloodstream, and works non-stop for 4 months. Then it breaks down, gets recycled, and new ones take its place. You're making 2 million new red blood cells every single second. Not in a day, not in an hour, every second. Your body is replacing them constantly. Right now, as you breathe in and out, millions of old cells are being broken down and millions of new ones are entering circulation. This means your blood is always young. Some of the red blood cells flowing through you right now were made yesterday. Some were made a month ago. Some are nearing the end of their 4-month journey. But none of them are old in the way we think of old. They're always being renewed. Inside each red blood cell is a protein called hemoglobin. This is what holds the oxygen. Hemoglobin is why blood is red. When it binds to oxygen, it turns bright red. When it releases oxygen, it turns darker. Not blue, like some people think. Just a deeper shade of red. But we'll come back to that later. One red blood cell can carry about 1 billion molecules of oxygen. That's billion with a B. And there are trillions of these cells in your body. All working, all carrying, all delivering exactly what your body needs, without you having to think about it even once. They move fast in some places, slower in others. In the big vessels near your heart, they rush along like cars on a highway. In the tiny capillaries, the smallest vessels in your body, they have to squeeze through single file. The capillaries are so narrow that red blood cells actually have to bend and fold to fit through. And they do this thousands of times a day without breaking. But they're not traveling alone. There are other passengers in this river. Guardians, protectors, cells that watch for danger and fight when they find it. These are your white blood cells, and they're nothing like the red ones. They're bigger, more complex, and they have one purpose: protect you. There are far fewer of them. For every 1,000 red blood cells, there's maybe one white cell. But don't let the numbers fool you. These cells are powerful. They're your immune system on patrol. Always watching, always ready. White blood cells come in different types. Each type has a different job. Some hunt bacteria, some fight viruses, some clean up debris, some remember every infection you've ever had and stand ready in case it comes back. They work as a team without ever needing instructions. Here's something amazing. White blood cells can leave the bloodstream. They can squeeze through the walls of blood vessels and move into your tissues when you get a cut or an infection. White blood cells sense the chemical signals. They follow those signals like breadcrumbs. And they push through the vessel walls to get to the site of the problem. Imagine that. A cell flowing through your blood detects trouble somewhere in your toe. It stops. It pushes against the vessel wall. The wall opens just enough to let it through. And then the cell crawls through your tissue toward the infection. It's hunting. And it won't stop until the threat is gone. Scientists once filmed a white blood cell chasing a bacterium. This was decades ago, but the footage still amazes people. The bacterium tries to escape. It moves, changes direction, but the white blood cell follows every turn. Relentless, patient, until finally it catches up and swallows the invader whole. This happens inside you all the time. Battles you never see. Threats eliminated before you even know they existed. Some white blood cells live for just a few hours. They're made, they patrol, they do their job, and they're gone. Others live for years, decades even. These are the memory cells, the ones that remember every virus, every bacteria, every foreign substance you've encountered. They're your body's history book, written in living cells, floating in your blood. When you get sick and then recover, these memory cells are why you usually don't get the same illness twice. They remember, and if that threat ever shows up again, they respond faster, stronger, before you even feel symptoms. Your white blood cells are also why vaccines work. A vaccine shows your body a harmless version of a threat. Your white blood cells respond. They learn, they remember, and years later, if the real threat appears, those memory cells spring into action immediately. But white blood cells aren't just warriors. Some of them are cleanup crews. They find dead cells, old cells, damaged tissue, and they break it all down. They're recyclers, making sure nothing goes to waste, keeping the system clean. Right now, thousands of white blood cells are flowing through you. Most of them will never encounter an enemy. They'll just patrol, watching, waiting, doing the quiet work of keeping you safe. And then there's another type of passenger, smaller than both red and white cells, but absolutely essential when something goes wrong. These are platelets, your body's emergency repair crew, and they're not even complete cells. They're fragments, pieces broken off from larger cells in your bone marrow. But what they lack in size, they make up for in numbers. In a single drop of blood, there are about 250,000 platelets, 500,000 if the drop is big enough, all of them floating, waiting for damage, waiting for their moment to act. Platelets are smaller than red blood cells, much smaller. They're just little discs drifting in the current. Most of the time, they do nothing, they just flow. But the moment a blood vessel breaks, everything changes. When you cut yourself, even slightly, the lining of the blood vessel tears. And platelets sense this immediately. They don't think about it. They don't decide. They just respond. They rush to the injury site, stick to the torn edges, and start building. Picture it like this. The blood vessel is a dam. The cut is a crack in the dam. Water is rushing through. Platelets are like workers who grab onto the crack and hold on. More platelets arrive. They stick to the first ones. Then more come. They pile up, layer after layer, building a plug. But they don't just stack themselves randomly. They release chemicals that call for help. These chemicals attract more platelets. they also trigger proteins in the blood to form threads. Long, sticky threads called fibrin. These threads weave through the platelet pile like ropes through sandbags. And suddenly, what started as loose cells becomes a solid clot. This is why paper cuts stop bleeding, why a scraped knee eventually dries, why blood doesn't just pour out of you every time you get hurt. Platelets build the dam, hold back the river, give your body time to heal the vessel wall underneath. The whole process takes minutes, sometimes less. From the moment of injury to a stable clot, your platelets work faster than you can find a bandage. And they do it without instructions, just chemistry, just automatic response to damage. But here's the clever part. Once the vessel wall heals, the clot isn't needed anymore. So your body breaks it down, dissolves it, recycles the pieces. The platelets that gave their structure to save you get taken apart and remade into something new. Nothing in your body goes to waste. Platelets only live about 10 days, shorter than red blood cells, much shorter than some white cells. But your bone marrow makes new ones constantly, about 100 billion per day. That's trillion with a T over the course of a month. Always replacing, always preparing for the next injury that might never come. And when that injury does come, when you nick your finger or bite your lip, your platelets are already there, already moving, already building the patch that will keep your blood where it belongs. But all of these cells, all of these fragments, all of these travelers are floating in something. They need a medium, a carrier, an ocean to move through. That ocean is called plasma. And if you could separate it from the cells, you'd see something surprising. It's not red, it's yellow. A pale, golden yellow, like weak tea or diluted honey. Plasma makes up about 55% of your blood, more than half. The cells, all those red and white cells and platelets, they're only 45%. The rest is this liquid, this carrier fluid that makes everything else possible. And plasma is mostly water, about 90% water. But the other 10% is packed with important things. Proteins that help blood clot, antibodies that fight infections, nutrients absorbed from your food, waste products on their way to be filtered out, hormones carrying messages, salts that keep the chemistry balanced. If you've ever tasted your own blood from a cut lip, you know it's salty. That's the plasma. It has almost the same salt concentration as ocean water. Not the ocean now, but the ancient ocean from millions of years ago. Back when the first creatures with blood evolved in those seas, they carried a piece of that ocean inside them. And so do you. Plasma does more than just carry cells. It distributes heat. Your body makes heat constantly. Muscles generate it. Organs generate it. And that heat needs to spread evenly. Plasma flows through warm areas and cool areas, mixing the temperature. It's like the coolant in a car engine. Always moving, always balancing. When you're hot, blood vessels near your skin expand. More plasma flows close to the surface. Heat radiates out. You cool down. When you're cold, those vessels contract. Less plasma near the skin. Heat stays deep inside, where your vital organs need it. Your body adjusts all of this automatically. You don't decide. The system knows. Plasma also carries the building blocks your body needs: amino acids from protein, glucose from carbohydrates, fatty acids from fats, all dissolved in this yellow liquid, flowing to cells that are hungry, delivering fuel, delivering materials for growth and repair. And it carries away what cells don't need: carbon dioxide from respiration, urea from broken down proteins. These waste products dissolve into plasma, travel to your lungs or kidneys, get removed from your body. The river cleans itself as it flows. Doctors can separate plasma from blood cells using a centrifuge. The machine spins the blood fast. The heavier cells sink to the bottom. The lighter plasma rises to the top. And what you see in that top layer is surprisingly clear: just pale yellow liquid. Easy to forget that this simple fluid is doing so much. Plasma can be donated separately from whole blood. It's used in hospitals for people who've lost blood volume, for people whose blood won't clot properly, for people fighting certain infections. Your body replaces donated plasma within 24 hours, just makes more. The water you drink becomes part of it. The salt you eat dissolves into it, and the river flows on. But plasma isn't stagnant. It's not just sitting there holding cells. It's moving, always moving, pushed by the heart through a network that never stops. This ocean is always moving. And the circuit it follows is surprisingly fast. One complete loop through your entire body takes about 60 seconds. 1 minute, that's all. Your heart pumps blood out. The blood travels through arteries that branch and divide. It reaches the smallest vessels, the capillaries, where oxygen and nutrients pass into your tissues. Then it collects in veins that merge and grow, and it returns to your heart. 60 seconds, maybe less if you're exercising. But the blood doesn't travel at the same speed everywhere. In the large arteries near your heart, it moves fast, almost 2 feet per second. That's quick. It's rushing, being pushed hard with each heartbeat. As the vessels branch and get smaller, the blood slows down. In the capillaries, those tiny vessels where the real work happens, blood moves at less than 1 millimeter per second. It's crawling, taking its time. This slowness is important. It gives oxygen and nutrients time to seep out, gives waste products time to seep in. The capillaries are so narrow that red blood cells have to pass through single file, one at a time, squeezing and bending to fit. And there are billions of these tiny vessels in your body. If you could lay them all end to end, they'd stretch for about 60,000 miles. Most of your blood vessel network is capillaries. After passing through the capillaries, blood enters the veins. And here's where something interesting happens. Veins don't have the strong push from the heart that arteries do. The blood has lost most of its pressure by the time it reaches the veins. So how does it get back to the heart? Muscle movement helps. When you walk or move your legs, your muscles squeeze the veins. This pushes blood upward, and inside the veins are one-way valves, little flaps that open toward when blood moves toward the heart, and close when it tries to flow backward. So every time you move, you're helping pump blood back to your heart. This is why sitting still for too long makes your legs feel heavy. The blood pools a little, not dangerously, just enough to notice. Stand up, walk around, and your muscles take over. Squeeze the veins, push the blood home. You can feel this circuit working. Put your fingers on your wrist. Find the pulse. That rhythm you feel is a wave of pressure traveling through the artery. Each beat of your heart sends a wave, and that wave moves faster than the blood itself. The wave is just pressure moving through the vessel wall. You can find your pulse in your neck, behind your knee, on the inside of your elbow, on the top of your foot, anywhere an artery runs close to the surface. It's everywhere, proof that the circuit is working, that the river is flowing, and the heart never truly rests. Between beats, there's a brief pause, a moment when the chambers fill, but the blood keeps moving, the vessels keep conducting, the pressure keeps pushing, the circuit stays alive. But not all blood looks the same as it travels this circuit. There's something different about it in different places. That difference is color, but not in the way most people think. Your blood is never blue, never, not in your veins, not anywhere inside you. It's always red. The confusion comes from looking at your wrists. You can see veins through your skin, and they look blue or greenish. So people assume the blood inside must be blue. But it's not. The blood is red. What you're seeing is a trick of light. When light hits your skin, different colors penetrate different depths. Red light goes deeper. Blue light bounces back more easily. So the veins, which sit below the skin, appear blue even though the blood inside them is red. It's the same reason the sky looks blue, even though air has no color. Light does strange things. Blood is red because of hemoglobin. That's the protein inside red blood cells, the one that carries oxygen. Hemoglobin contains iron, and when iron binds to oxygen, it reflects red light. Bright red, the color of fresh blood from a small cut. When hemoglobin releases its oxygen to the tissues, the color changes, not to blue, to a darker red, more of a burgundy, like red wine instead of cherry juice. This is the blood in your veins. Darker, yes, but still red. If you could see inside your body, you'd see arteries carrying bright red blood away from your heart and lungs, and veins carrying darker red blood back. 2 shades of red, that's all. But some creatures actually do have blue blood. Octopuses, horseshoe crabs, some spiders and mollusks. Their blood uses copper instead of iron to carry oxygen. And copper turns blue when it binds to oxygen. So their blood really is blue. But you're not built that way. You're an iron-based creature, and iron means red. There's something beautiful about this. Every human who has ever lived carried red blood. Every ancestor stretching back millions of years. Red because of iron. Red because of the same chemistry that rusts old metal and colors the soil of Mars. You're carrying an element forged in dying stars, and it's keeping you alive right now. Even the darkest blood in your veins, the blood that's given up its oxygen and collected carbon dioxide, is still red under the skin. If you drew that blood and looked at it in a tube, you'd see dark but red, always red. This matters for doctors. When they take blood from a vein, they know what to expect. Dark red liquid. If it came out blue, something would be very wrong. The color tells them the blood is real, that it's doing its job, that the chemistry is working. And when you see blood from a cut, that bright red color means your red blood cells just came from your lungs. They just picked up oxygen. They're at the start of their delivery route, still fresh, still loaded with what your body needs. Your blood carries more than just oxygen and color. It carries markers, chemical tags that make your blood different from everyone else's. These markers are called blood types, and they sit on the surface of your red blood cells like tiny flags. Chemical markers that identify your blood as uniquely yours. The main markers are called A and B. Some people have A markers on their cells. Some have B markers. Some have both. Some have neither. If you have neither, your blood type is O. If you have both, it's AB. Simple letters for complex chemistry. But there's another marker. It's called the Rh factor. If you have it, you're positive. If you don't, you're negative. So your blood type is actually two pieces of information. The letter and the positive or negative. A positive, negative, O positive, AB negative. 8 combinations total. These markers come from your parents. You inherit them like eye color or height. 1 gene from your mother, 1 from your father. The combination determines your blood type, and it never changes. The blood type you have now is the blood type you were born with. Blood types matter most during transfusions. If you need blood from someone else, the types have to be compatible. Your immune system checks the markers. If it sees markers it doesn't recognize, it attacks. Treats the new blood as an invader. This can be dangerous, fatal even. So doctors match blood types carefully. A person with type A blood can receive type A or type O. Type B can receive BOR-O. Type AB can receive any type because they already have both markers. And type O can only receive type O because they have no markers at all. But type O negative is special. It has no A markers, no B markers, no Rh factor, nothing for an immune system to reject. This means O negative blood can go to anyone, any blood type. It's the universal donor. In emergencies, when there's no time to test blood types, doctors use O negative. Only about 7% of people have O negative blood. It's rare, but hospitals need it constantly, for accidents, for surgeries, for moments when every second counts and there's no time to match types precisely. On the other side, AB positive is the universal receiver. People with this type can accept blood from anyone. Their immune system recognizes all the markers, sees them as safe. No rejection, no attack. Your blood type can also tell you something about your ancestors. Type A is common in Europe. Type B is common in Asia. Type O is the oldest type, the one early humans had before A and B mutations appeared. When you know your blood type, you're seeing a piece of your genetic history, a marker passed down through generations. Some people think blood types affect personality or health. There's no strong science behind this, but the markers do interact with diseases in subtle ways. Certain blood types are slightly more or less vulnerable to specific infections. The differences are small, but they're real. What's clear is this: your blood type is part of you, written into every red blood cell, a signature in chemistry, and it connects you to a network of compatible donors. People you've never met who could, if needed, share their blood with you. But blood does more than carry markers and oxygen. It's also your body's thermostat. Your blood is constantly managing heat, moving it, spreading it, balancing it. Without your blood, your body couldn't maintain the narrow temperature range it needs to survive. The target is 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the standard. Your body works hard to stay right around that number. A few degrees higher and proteins start to break down. A few degrees lower and chemical reactions slow. Blood is what keeps you in the safe zone. When you're too hot, your body responds immediately. Blood vessels near your skin expand. More blood flows to the surface. Heat radiates out into the air. This is why your face gets red when you're overheated. It's not embarrassment. It's blood rushing to your skin to cool you down. Sweating helps too, but sweat only works because blood brings heat to the surface first. The sweat evaporates, takes heat with it, and more blood arrives, carrying more heat. The cycle continues until your temperature drops back to normal. When you're cold, the opposite happens. Blood vessels near your skin contract. Less blood flows to the surface. Heat stays deep inside where your organs need it most. This is why your fingers and toes get cold first. Your body is protecting your heart, your brain, your liver, the parts that can't afford to cool down. You might shiver. That's your muscles contracting rapidly, creating heat. And blood carries that heat away from the muscles and distributes it, shares it with tissues that need warming. Your body is a furnace, and blood is the system that spreads the warmth. Even while you sleep, this process continues. Your temperature drops slightly at night, about 1 degree. Blood flow to your skin decreases. Your body conserves energy, but the core temperature stays protected. Blood makes sure of that. Exercise heats you up fast. Muscles working hard produce heat as a byproduct. Blood picks up that heat and carries it away. If it didn't, your muscles would overheat in minutes. You'd have to stop. But blood keeps them cool enough to continue. It's why you can run for miles. Lift weights for an hour. Your blood is managing the heat the entire time. Fever is blood doing the opposite. When you're sick, your body raises the temperature on purpose, makes the environment less friendly for bacteria and viruses. Blood circulates that higher temperature throughout your body. Every tissue gets warmer. The invaders struggle. Your immune system works better in the heat. And when the fever breaks, blood brings the temperature back down. Gradually, safely, you sweat. The blood vessels expand. Heat leaves, and you return to that magic number. 98.6. Your body makes heat just by being alive. Digestion produces heat. Breathing produces heat. Thinking produces heat. Every cell doing its job creates warmth. And all of that heat needs to go somewhere, needs to be managed. Blood handles it without you noticing. You don't think about staying warm. You don't consciously cool yourself down. The blood does it automatically, responding to temperature changes faster than you could react on purpose. But temperature control is just one job. Blood also carries messages. These messages are called hormones, chemical signals made by glands and organs, released into the bloodstream. carried to distant parts of your body, and they change things when they arrive. Think of blood as a postal service. Hormones are the letters, each one addressed to specific cells, each one carrying instructions. Your blood delivers millions of these messages every day. Adrenaline is one you've probably felt. When you're startled or scared, your adrenal glands release it into your blood. Within seconds, it reaches your heart. Your heart beats faster. It reaches your lungs. You breathe deeper. It reaches your muscles. They tense, ready to move. All because blood delivered the message. Danger. You feel emotions in your body because of blood. Nervousness makes your stomach churn. That's hormones reaching your digestive system. Excitement makes your heart race. That's hormones hitting your heart. Stress makes your muscles tight. Blood carrying signals to tense up. Prepare. React. Insulin is another hormone, made by your pancreas, released after you eat. It travels through your blood to your cells and tells them to absorb sugar from the bloodstream, to take in energy, store it, use it. Without insulin, sugar just floats in your blood. Your cells starve even though food is right there. Blood is the delivery system that makes feeding your cells possible. When you're tired, your brain releases hormones that make you sleepy. Blood carries these to your whole body. Muscles relax. Brain activity slows. You yawn. Your eyelids get heavy. It's chemistry traveling through liquid, telling you it's time to rest. Growth hormone travels through blood too, made while you sleep, sent to bones and muscles, telling them to grow, repair, rebuild. Children grow because blood delivers these messages night after night. Adults heal because the same system keeps working. Even your mood is influenced by hormones in your blood. Serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, made in your brain and other organs, released into the bloodstream, affecting how you feel, how you think, how you connect with others. Blood doesn't decide which hormones to carry or where they go. It just carries them all. The hormones themselves know their targets. They fit into specific receptors on specific cells, like keys in locks. Blood is just the courier, delivering keys to millions of locks throughout your body. This system is fast. A hormone released in your brain can reach your toe in about a minute, maybe less. The same time it takes blood to complete one full circuit. And the effects can be immediate, or they can build slowly. Depends on the message. Your blood is constantly full of these signals, some telling cells to speed up, some telling them to slow down, some saying grow, some saying stop, some saying sleep, some saying wake up. It's a conversation happening in chemistry, and blood makes sure every part of your body hears it. But blood doesn't just carry messages randomly through your body. It follows specific paths, routes that ensure every tissue gets what it needs. These paths are your blood vessels, and they branch like a tree, starting large, dividing smaller, reaching everywhere. The largest vessels are arteries. They carry blood away from your heart. The walls are thick, muscular, built to handle the pressure of each heartbeat. The biggest artery, the aorta, is about as wide as a garden hose. It exits your heart and immediately starts branching. Each branch goes to a different region. One to your head, one to your arms, one to your organs, one to your legs. And each of those branches divides again and again, getting smaller with each division, like a river splitting into streams, streams splitting into creeks. Eventually, the arteries become arterioles, tiny vessels barely visible. And then they become capillaries, the smallest vessels in your body, so narrow that red blood cells squeeze through single file. This branching system ensures blood reaches every tissue, every organ, every cell. There's no part of you that blood doesn't visit. Even your bones have blood vessels running through them. Even your teeth have tiny vessels in the roots. After blood passes through the capillaries, it enters venules, small veins. These merge together, getting larger, forming bigger veins. The process reverses, creeks joining into streams, streams joining into rivers, all flowing back toward your heart. Veins have thinner walls than arteries. They don't need to be as strong because the pressure is lower, but they have something arteries don't need: valves. These valves are like small doors that only open one way. When blood flows toward your heart, the valve opens. When blood tries to flow backward, the valve closes. This prevents pooling, keeps the blood moving in the right direction even when pressure is low. You can see these valves working if you know what to look for. Press on a vein in your hand. The blood downstream flows out. The vein flattens, but blood upstream can't flow back to fill it because the valve is closed. Release the pressure and blood flows in from the proper direction, refills the vein. The valve did its job. Gravity is a problem for blood. When you stand, blood in your legs has to travel upward to get back to your heart. But gravity pulls it down, so your body uses muscle contractions to help. When you walk, your leg muscles squeeze the veins, push blood upward. The valves make sure it can't fall back, down. This is why standing completely still for a long time can make you dizzy. Blood pools in your legs. Less returns to your heart. Less gets pumped to your brain. Move your legs even slightly, and the muscles take over. Pump the blood back up. Problem solved. The entire network is interconnected. If one path gets blocked, blood can often find another route. Smaller vessels take over. The system adapts, ensures delivery continues even when there's damage. And some parts of your body get special treatment. Places where blood flow is so critical that the system gives them priority. One place demands more than anywhere else. Your brain. It's only about 2% of your body weight, but it uses 20% of the oxygen your blood carries. 1/5 for one small organ. Your brain never stops working. Even when you sleep, it's active. Processing, dreaming, maintaining your body. And all of that activity requires energy, requires oxygen. Blood delivers both constantly. The vessels feeding your brain form a special network called the Circle of Willis. It's a ring of arteries at the base of your brain. Multiple pathways feeding in, multiple routes for blood to take. This redundancy is protection. If one vessel gets blocked, others can compensate. Your brain is too important to risk. But your brain also protects itself from blood. Strange as that sounds, between your bloodstream and your brain tissue is a barrier, the blood-brain barrier. It's made of tightly packed cells lining the vessels. They act like a security checkpoint. Most substances in your blood can't cross this barrier, can't reach your brain. Only specific molecules get through. Oxygen passes easily. Glucose passes. Water passes. But bacteria don't. Most toxins don't. Larger molecules don't. Your brain sits in a filtered environment, protected from threats that might travel through your bloodstream. This barrier is why some medicines don't work on brain conditions. They can't cross. They reach every other organ through blood, but stop at the brain. Scientists have to design drugs specifically to get past this checkpoint. Blood flow to your brain adjusts constantly based on what you're doing. When you concentrate, certain areas need more oxygen. Blood vessels in those regions dilate. More blood flows in. When you relax, the flow redistributes. Automatic, precise. When you stand up quickly, gravity pulls blood toward your legs for a moment. Less reaches your brain. You feel dizzy, lightheaded. Your body responds fast. Heart rate increases. Blood vessels tighten. Within seconds, flow to your brain is restored. The dizziness fades. Your brain is very sensitive to blood flow disruptions. Just a few seconds without oxygen and you lose consciousness. A few minutes and damage begins. This is why strokes are so dangerous. When a blood vessel in the brain gets blocked or bursts, the tissue downstream dies quickly. Starved of oxygen, starved of glucose. No time to wait for alternative routes. But when blood flow is normal, your brain thrives. Every thought you have requires energy delivered by blood. Every memory formed. Every sensation processed. Blood makes thinking possible. Even at rest, your brain is working. Breathing happens without thought because your brainstem monitors carbon dioxide in your blood and adjusts your breathing rate. You don't decide to breathe. Blood chemistry tells your brain when you need more oxygen, and your brain responds. While you sleep tonight, blood will keep flowing to your brain, delivering what it needs, clearing away waste products, maintaining the organ that makes you who you are. Tireless, reliable, never stopping. And throughout all of this, your blood itself is aging, changing, being renewed. Your blood is always renewing itself. Old cells die, new cells take their place. The cycle never stops. It's been happening since before you were born, and it will continue as long as you live. Red blood cells last about 120 days, 4 months. After that, they wear out. Their membranes get stiff. They can't squeeze through capillaries as easily. Your spleen notices. It filters them out, breaks them down, but nothing goes to waste. The iron inside those old red blood cells gets recycled, sent back to your bone marrow, used to make new hemoglobin, new cells. The same iron atoms might be used dozens of times throughout your life, cycling through cells, death and rebirth on a microscopic scale. Your liver helps with this recycling too. It breaks down the parts of hemoglobin that can't be reused, turns them into bile. That bile helps you digest fats. Even in destruction, the old blood cells serve a purpose. White blood cells have different lifespans. Some live for just hours. Neutrophils, the ones that fight bacteria, might only survive half a day. They work hard, burn out fast. Others, the memory cells, can live for years, decades even, carrying information about past infections, waiting patiently for threats that might never return. Platelets live about 10 days. Then they too get filtered out, recycled. Your bone marrow replaces them constantly, making billions every day, preparing for injuries that may or may not happen, just in case. This constant replacement means your blood is always young. Right now, some of your red blood cells were born today, this morning, this hour. Others are approaching their 4-month deadline, about to be retired and replaced. But the average age of your blood stays roughly the same, always renewing, always fresh. Your bone marrow is working every second to maintain this. Deep inside your bones, stem cells divide. They become red cells, white cells, platelet-producing cells. The factory never closes, never takes a break. 2 million red blood cells per second, every second. It sounds impossible, but it's happening right now inside you. If you donate blood, you lose about a pint. Your body notices immediately, starts replacing it. Within 24 hours, your plasma volume is back to normal. Within a few weeks, all the cells are replaced. The system compensates, adapts, makes sure you always have enough. Even the plasma components get recycled. Proteins break down, get rebuilt. Antibodies that served their purpose get dismantled. Their parts become new proteins. Nothing stays the same for long. This renewal is quiet, invisible. You never feel it happening, but it's proof that your body knows time, knows when things need replacing, knows how to maintain balance without your input. Your blood today is not the same blood you had 4 months ago, not the exact same cells, but it's still your blood. Same type, same chemistry, same essential nature, just perpetually refreshed, perpetually young, and locked inside each cell is information that never changes, a code that defines who you are. That code is DNA, and every blood cell that has a nucleus carries the complete set, your entire genetic instruction manual. Billions of letters of information in every white blood cell. Red blood cells are different. They actually lose their nucleus as they mature. They give up their DNA to make more room for hemoglobin, more room to carry oxygen. It's a trade, function over information. But when scientists need your DNA, they don't use red blood cells anyway. They use white blood cells, the ones that kept their nuclei. A single drop of blood contains enough DNA for testing, for identification, for learning your ancestry, for checking genetic health risks. All the information needed to build you from scratch exists in that one drop, repeated trillions of times throughout your bloodstream. This is how blood tests can reveal genetic conditions. The DNA in your blood cells shows mutations, shows risks, shows traits passed down from parents and grandparents. Your blood is a library, and every cell is a complete copy of the same book. Blood types are written in this DNA. The genes that code for A and B markers, the gene for the Rh factor, they're all there, inherited from your parents. One set of instructions from your mother, one from your father. combined to create your unique blood type. When forensic scientists use blood to identify someone, they're reading this DNA, comparing it to samples, looking for matches. Your blood is a signature that can't be forged, can't be changed. It's you in chemical form. Even diseases can be detected through blood DNA. Some cancers leave traces, fragments of mutated DNA that leak into the bloodstream. Doctors can find these fragments, use them to diagnose, to monitor, to catch problems early. Your blood also holds information about your heritage. DNA testing companies use blood or saliva to trace your ancestry. The markers in your genes connect you to populations, migrations, ancient human movements across continents. Your blood carries history, not just your personal history, but the history of your ancestors going back thousands of years. Identical twins have identical DNA. If you tested their blood, you couldn't tell them apart genetically. Same code, same blood type, same everything written in the genes. But even identical twins have small differences that develop over time. Their blood tells most of the same story, but not quite all. The DNA in your blood is remarkably stable. It doesn't change as cells age. A blood cell born today has the same DNA as one born 10 years ago. The information stays constant, even as the cells themselves die and are replaced. Your genetic identity remains fixed. This permanence is both beautiful and humbling. The code that makes you exists in every nucleated cell, floating through your veins, being copied billions of times. And it's been passed down through generations, from parent to child, from ancient humans to you. An unbroken chain of information stretching back to the beginning of your family line. But your blood doesn't just carry fixed information. It also responds to the world around you. Changes based on where you are, what you're experiencing. One of the most remarkable changes happens at altitude. Go high enough and your blood adapts, creates more red blood cells, becomes better at capturing the thinner oxygen available in mountain air. At sea level, the air is dense. Oxygen is plentiful. Your blood doesn't need to work especially hard. But climb a mountain, travel to a high city, and the air pressure drops. There's less oxygen in each breath. Your body senses this immediately. Special sensors in your kidneys and arteries detect the lower oxygen levels. They respond by releasing a hormone called erythropoietin. This hormone travels through your blood to your bone marrow, and it sends a signal. Make more red blood cells. Over days and weeks, your bone marrow increases production. More red blood cells enter your bloodstream. Your blood becomes denser, richer, better at capturing and holding oxygen. This is why people who live at high altitudes often have higher red blood cell counts than people at sea level. Their blood has adapted to the environment. Athletes know this. Some train at high altitudes specifically to trigger this response. Their bodies make more red blood cells. Then they compete at sea level, where oxygen is abundant. The extra red blood cells give them an advantage. More oxygen delivery, better endurance, but the adaptation takes time. You can't just show up at altitude and expect your blood to adjust instantly. It takes weeks. Your body is patient. It builds the cells gradually, safely. Too fast, and your blood could become too thick. too slow, and you'd struggle with the low oxygen. People who move to high-altitude cities sometimes feel tired for the first few weeks, dizzy, short of breath. Their blood hasn't caught up yet, but eventually it does. The red blood cell count rises, energy returns, the body finds its new balance. And when you return to lower altitude, the process reverses. Your body senses the abundant oxygen, stops overproducing red blood cells. The extra ones age out, die, get recycled. Within a few months, your blood returns to its previous state. The adaptation fades, no longer needed. This shows how responsive blood is. It's not fixed, not unchanging. It adjusts to circumstances, to environment, to need. Your blood at sea level is different from your blood on a mountain. Same person, same DNA, but different capabilities. Even within a single day, your blood chemistry shifts. Hormone levels change. Glucose rises after meals and falls between them. Carbon dioxide increases when you exercise and decreases when you rest. Your blood is constantly fluctuating, responding, adapting. But some responses last longer. Some changes become part of your blood's memory. Written not in DNA, but in the cells that patrol and protect. This memory lives in your white blood cells, specifically in the ones that survive for years. They remember every threat your body has ever faced. Every virus, every bacteria, every foreign substance that triggered an immune response. When you catch a cold or flu, your immune system learns. White blood cells called B cells produce antibodies. These antibodies are custom-made proteins that fit the invader like a key fits a lock. They attach to the virus or bacteria, mark it for destruction, help neutralize it. After you recover, most of these activated cells die off. Their job is done, but some remain. Memory B cells. They float in your blood and lymph system for years, sometimes for life, carrying the blueprint for those antibodies. Waiting. If that same threat ever appears again, these memory cells recognize it instantly. They don't need to learn, don't need to experiment. They already know the solution. Within hours, they start producing antibodies. The response is faster, stronger, often so effective you never even feel sick. This is why you typically don't get chickenpox twice. Your memory cells from the first infection remain on guard. If the virus shows up again, it gets eliminated before it can cause symptoms. The memory protects you silently, automatically. Vaccines work by creating this memory without the danger of the actual disease. They introduce a harmless version of a virus or bacteria. Your immune system responds, learns, creates memory cells, and those cells persist. If the real threat ever appears, you're protected. Your blood already knows how to fight it. Some memories fade over time. The antibody levels in your blood drop. The memory cells become fewer. This is why you need booster shots for certain vaccines, to remind your immune system, to rebuild the population of memory cells, to strengthen the defense. But other memories last a lifetime. Measles immunity, once established, usually persists forever. The memory cells remain active, vigilant, ready. Your blood carries protection you earned decades ago. Even your blood-type antibodies are a form of memory. If you have a POB, type A blood, your immune system learned early in life that B markers are foreign. It maintains antibodies against them constantly. These aren't made in response to an infection. They're just there, part of your blood's permanent defensive setup. Antibodies float freely in your plasma, millions of them, each one shaped to recognize a specific threat. Some are targeting viruses you encountered years ago. Some are ready for threats you've never seen. Your blood is full of these molecular guards, invisible protection circulating constantly. This immune memory is why older people often get sick less frequently than children. Not because their immune systems are stronger, but because they've encountered more threats, built more memories. Their blood carries decades of learned defenses, and sometimes this memory can be shared, transferred from one person to another through blood. When someone donates blood, they're sharing this protection, sharing oxygen carriers, sharing platelets, sharing plasma. One donation can help 3 different people. The blood gets separated, used where it's needed most. Someone who lost blood in surgery receives the red blood cells. Someone with a clotting disorder receives the platelets. Someone with severe burns receives the plasma. One person's gift, 3 lives helped. Blood can't be manufactured, can't be synthesized in a lab. The only source is other humans. This makes donation essential. Hospitals need a constant supply for accidents, for surgeries, for treatments, for emergencies no one can predict. Donated blood doesn't last forever. Red blood cells can be stored for about 42 days. Platelets only last 5 days. Plasma can be frozen and stored for up to a year. But eventually, all of it expires. This means the supply must constantly be refreshed. New donors needed regularly. Type O negative blood is always in demand. Universal donor can go to anyone in an emergency, but only 7% of people have it. The math is challenging. High need, limited supply. Every O negative donor matters more than they might realize. On the other side, AB positive recipients can receive any blood type. Their immune system recognizes all the markers, accepts them all. They have the most options in an emergency. But AB positive is rare too. Only about 3% of people have it. When you receive donated blood, it becomes yours. The cells integrate into your system. Start doing their jobs immediately. The donated red blood cells carry oxygen. The platelets help you clot. The plasma fills your vessels. It's seamless, a biological transfer that saves lives. The donated cells will age out normally, live there 4 months or 10 days, then get replaced by your own new cells. Eventually, all the donated blood is gone, cycled through, but it kept you alive during the critical window when your body couldn't manage alone. Blood banks store donations by type, keep track of expiration dates, match them to patients who need them. It's a quiet system. Most people never think about it. But it's there, working, ensuring that when someone needs blood, it's available. Some people donate regularly. Every few months, their body replaces what they give, and they know their blood might save someone they'll never meet. A stranger on an operating table, a child with leukemia, an accident victim, anonymous help given through the body's most essential fluid. This sharing of blood is ancient. Transfusions were attempted centuries ago. Most failed, but doctors kept trying, learning, understanding compatibility, understanding storage. Now it's routine, safe. One of medicine's most important tools. Your blood could save someone. Right now, it's just keeping you alive, doing its quiet work. But if you chose to donate, someone else could benefit from the river you carry, could receive the oxygen carriers you're not using, the protection you've built, the gift of life in liquid form. But blood does more than flow and fight and heal. It also tells stories, reveals secrets. Doctors can read these stories in a single vial, a small tube of blood drawn from your arm, tested, analyzed, and suddenly they know things about your body you couldn't tell them yourself. A complete blood count measures your cells. How many red blood cells? How many white cells? How many platelets? The numbers reveal balance or imbalance. Too few red cells means anemia. Not enough oxygen delivery. Too many white cells might mean infection, or something more serious. The counts tell the story. Blood sugar testing shows how your body handles glucose. High levels might mean diabetes. Low levels might mean your diet needs adjustment or your medications need changing. One measurement, big implications. Cholesterol tests read the fats in your blood. Too much of certain types increases heart disease risk. The blood reveals what's building up in your arteries, what threats are developing silently. Liver enzymes leak into blood when the liver is damaged or working too hard. Kidney waste products accumulate when kidneys aren't filtering properly. Your blood carries evidence of how every major organ is functioning. It's a window into your body's inner workings. Even hormones can be measured. Thyroid levels, reproductive hormones, stress hormones. The chemical messengers floating in your plasma tell doctors if your glands are working correctly, if your metabolism is balanced, if something needs attention. Some tests look for specific antibodies, evidence that you've encountered certain infections, or evidence that your immune system is attacking your own tissues by mistake. Autoimmune conditions show up in blood before they show up anywhere else. Cancer markers sometimes appear in blood, proteins or DNA fragments that shouldn't be there. Early warning signs that something has gone wrong at the cellular level. Not all cancers leave traces in blood, but some do. And catching them early makes treatment more effective. Blood tests can even detect pregnancy. The hormone produced by a developing embryo enters the mother's bloodstream, shows up in testing within days of conception, long before any other signs appear. This diagnostic power is relatively recent. A century ago, doctors could look at blood under microscopes, count cells manually, but they couldn't measure most of what we measure now. Modern medicine has learned to read blood like a detailed report. Every chemical, every cell type, every subtle imbalance. And it's not invasive, just a needle, a tube, a few minutes. The blood flows back into your arm afterward. The small amount taken gets replaced within hours, but the information it provides can guide treatment, prevent disease, save lives. Your blood is always telling the truth. It can't lie, can't hide what's happening in your body. The chemistry doesn't deceive. The cell counts don't pretend. Doctors trust blood tests because blood reflects reality, the actual state of your internal systems. This diagnostic ability is something to appreciate. A simple fluid flowing through you, carrying not just oxygen and nutrients, but information, evidence, clues about your health that no amount of asking questions could reveal. And this river, this remarkable system, has been with life for an incredibly long time. Blood has existed for hundreds of millions of years, long before humans, long before mammals. Back when the first fish swam in ancient oceans, they had blood, different from ours in details, but the same basic system, a fluid carrying oxygen, delivering nutrients, fighting infections. Every vertebrate on Earth has blood. Fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, mammals, all of us. The system was invented once, perfected over time, and inherited by every creature with a backbone. Early fish had simple blood, fewer cell types, less sophisticated. But it worked. It kept them alive, let them grow larger than creatures without circulatory systems, gave them energy to swim faster, hunt better, survive. As life moved onto land, blood adapted. Lungs replaced gills. The heart became more complex. Chambers divided. Circulation patterns changed. But the fundamental idea remained. A pump, vessels, cells carrying oxygen. The design was too good to abandon. When mammals evolved, blood became warm, maintained at a constant temperature. This allowed activity in cold environments. Let mammals hunt at night, stay active in winter. Blood became not just a transport system, but a heating system. An advantage that helped mammals spread across the planet. Birds took this even further. Their blood is slightly warmer than ours, more efficient at capturing oxygen. This supports flight, the incredible energy demands of staying airborne. Their hearts beat faster, their blood moves faster. But it's still the same basic system. Still red cells carrying oxygen through vessels. Even the chemistry is shared. Hemoglobin exists in nearly all vertebrates. The same protein, the same iron core, modified slightly in different species, but recognizably related. Evidence of common ancestry. Proof that we're all connected through deep time. Some invertebrates have blood-like fluids. Insects have hemolymph. It's not quite blood, doesn't carry oxygen the same way, but it fills a similar role. Shows that the concept of a circulatory fluid is so useful that evolution discovered it multiple times. The fact that your blood is red because of iron isn't an accident. Iron is abundant on Earth, available, and it has the chemical properties needed to bind and release oxygen. Evolution found this solution early and kept it. Your blood connects you to every human who has ever lived. Same system, same red color, same cells doing the same jobs. But also to every mammal, every bird, every fish. We all carry this river, this internal ocean, this solution to the problem of delivering oxygen to cells. Millions of years of refinement, trial and error, natural selection. And the result is flowing through you right now. Not perfect, but remarkably good. Reliable enough to support complex life. Flexible enough to adapt to different environments. Old enough to have proven itself across countless generations. This perspective makes blood feel different. Not just your personal fluid, but a gift from the deep past. A system older than mountains, carried forward through time, through species, through change, and now residing in you. And right now, in you, this ancient river is flowing. 5 liters, that's all. About as much as a large water bottle. But it's enough. It's always been enough. Your heart beats. The blood moves, loops through your lungs, picks up oxygen, returns to your heart, gets pushed out to your body, delivers what's needed, collects what isn't, returns, again, 100,000 times today, the same tomorrow. You're not thinking about it. You're not controlling it. You don't have to remember to make red blood cells. Don't have to schedule platelet production. Don't have to tell your white cells where to patrol. It all happens automatically, quietly, constantly. Right now, oxygen is reaching your brain because blood is delivering it. Your muscles are warm because blood is distributing heat. Old cells are being broken down and recycled. New ones are being made. Infections you'll never know about are being fought and won. All in the river flowing through you. This system has kept you alive every moment since you were born. Before that, even. Your heart started beating when you were an embryo smaller than a grain of rice. And it hasn't stopped. The blood has been flowing your entire life, through sleep, through waking, through every experience, every memory, every breath. And it asks nothing of you, no conscious effort, no attention. It works whether you're aware of it or not, whether you appreciate it or not. Tireless, reliable, the quiet miracle you carry. 5 liters flowing through 60,000 miles of vessels, feeding trillions of cells, protecting you from threats, healing your wounds, maintaining your temperature, carrying messages, removing waste, adapting to altitude, remembering infections, growing new cells to replace old ones. All of this, all the time, without pause. Tonight, as you rest, your blood will keep working. Your brain will receive oxygen while you dream. Your body will repair itself. Cells will be made, old ones recycled. The river will flow through darkness and stillness, keeping you alive, keeping you whole. There's something peaceful in this, knowing you don't have to manage it, don't have to think about it. Your body knows what to do, has known for millions of years. The wisdom is built in, automatic, ancient. The river inside you is older than you, older than humanity, older than most mountains. But it's also uniquely yours, your blood type, your cells, your chemistry. No one else's blood is exactly like yours. You carry both the universal and the personal, the ancient and the immediate. 5 liters, always moving, always working, the gift you were born with. the system that will carry you through your entire life. If you've enjoyed this quiet journey into the wonder of blood, consider hitting that like button and subscribing to Simple Sleepy Science. Tomorrow brings another story, another peaceful exploration of the science that surrounds us. And we'd love to have you with us. Leave a comment about what fact surprised you most. And rest well tonight, knowing the river inside you is flowing, taking care of you while you sleep. Sleep well.